Okay, so hello, I am Dr. Raquel Daly, and thank you so much for joining us on the Best Life Abroad podcast. Today we will be
Woo-hoo!
speaking, whoop, whoop. Today we will be speaking with Jocelyn and Ian, who relocated to Honduras, and they are going to share their insights and tell us all about their journey to living their best life abroad. So, welcome, Jocelyn and Ian. So good to have you on Best Life Abroad today.
Thanks for having us. We're
Yes.
excited to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to. I love talking to family, so this is like I'm really
Um,
excited to hear y'all's story. So tell us a little bit about kind of yourself, where you're even the idea of moving yourself and your family abroad. Like, how did that even come about?
Okay. I'm originally from California. Three generations. My whole family's born and raised in SoCal. Moved to the Bay Area. Went to Spelman College, where I met my husband. He went to Morehouse,
Yay!
and
HBCU love, yay!
yeah, still house
I went to
love.
Hampton, and my husband went to Norfolk State. So yes, I love it. I love it. Yes,
Yay!
yes.
So that's our background. I began teaching trade at the
Yay.
college, and I knew I wanted to go abroad since day one. I have a degree in Spanish literature. I had already
Yes.
studied abroad, lived abroad. So we were just waiting for the right time. And honestly, I probably was the one
Hmm.
holding us back because we started having kids, and I was like, oh, I gotta wait for the kids, and I want the kids to be older, and then we had
Hmm.
another kid and another kid. So now we're here with our kids.
Uh-huh. And how old are your babies?
3,
five
5,
and eight.
5 and 8. 3, 5.
Oh my gosh, real babies.
Yeah, they're little
Yes.
kids.
Wow. Oh, I love it. I love it. My son was born in Belgium, so I love it. That's so great.
Nice.
How old
That's
is your
cool.
son?
Yay. My son is 5. I have a son who's 5, and my daughter is 1.5.
Okay, so we're
So
in the
Awesome.
same boat.
yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So you lived abroad, so you studied abroad, is that right?
I studied abroad in
You lived ab-
Argentina and Dominican Republic.
Okay. Okay. So you knew you all wanted to be in like a Spanish speaking place.
hmm I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to say your little
Well,
tidbit.
well, my family's from the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, and
Okay.
first generation in the States, and so my experience was a little different. So I actually didn't think
Mm-hmm.
about going abroad, probably for those reasons, until we
Mm-hmm.
got married, had some kids, and I would honestly say I was holding this back because I was like, well, the same doesn't matter, tomato, tomato.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think seriously, and I think you have a different experience when it's not your home country. Because definitely
Mm-hmm.
being in Honduras, I'm like, wow, this is different, babe. Language is different.
Mm-hmm.
The culture has some similarities because it's Central America, close to the Caribbean. However, it's different in a good way, and especially
Okay.
being Americans, which I'm sure you'll have some good questions about. It was definitely an eye opener of, as your platform says, just a better life for us and our family who are, people of color. So I absolutely
Yeah.
love
Keep going. Keep going. What? Tell us
it.
all the things. Yeah. So what is better? Tell us.
I think everything's better. I think, well, for me as a mom, like, I kind of just like cover over the kids at all times. And one of the things that I noticed for our kids is they are so much less stressed out.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that the kids were stressed out. I knew I was stressed out in the States,
Mm,
but then when we moved here and see how they interact with their
mm-hmm.
peers and at school, I was like, why was I putting all this pressure on a 5-year-old? Why was I putting all this pressure on
Wow.
a second grader? On, a kid in preschool who's learning to read? Like, it doesn't need to be that way. Like, we're so stressed out and we don't even know the
Mm,
residual that our children feel. I
mm,
also noticed here that just I think that the kids are happier. I'm happier. We're school teachers.
mm.
Our kids are in school. I was waiting. We knew we were going to be abroad for a long time,
Yes.
but we told a fib to the kids. We said, "Oh, we're just for 2 years, and then we'll come back to Atlanta."
Yeah.
And my oldest, so he's in third grade now, did not want to go, and I was like, "We'll just persuade him." Like by month 2, he said, "Mommy, do we have to go back to the States? Can we just live in Honduras?" He does not want
Wow.
to after like 2 months.
Totally unprompted.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. That is really great. So
And I
you
think,
both are school. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yes, keep going.
no, please go ahead. It's okay.
No, I want to hear your
Um,
thoughts too.
sure. One of the biggest things I think that's better is just your, you know, how we always hear work-life balance, which if,
Mm-hmm.
as you, your husband know, once you have kids, all that kind of goes out the window. However, I
Mm-hmm.
truly
Yes.
believe living here as educators, the workload that I had and brought home, and then how
Wow.
my lack of energy affected my wife and
Mm-hmm.
kids, is completely different from now. So now, let's say
Mm.
I'll wake up 6 a.m. I'll wake up a little earlier, but 6 a.m. we're getting the family together. We have our work, what, 8 to about 2:30. By 3 o'clock,
Oof.
I'm not touching another thing with school. It's just family focused,
Wow.
and we're doing activities.
And he chooses to do that. I do not get up at 6.
And that's choosing to do
We
that.
don't.
So
I don't know why he
that's
gets
on
up
the
at 6.
earlier end.
He
However,
chooses to do all that. I'm
We
not.
have an early bird.
I had to do that
yeah,
back home. Wake up at 5. I'm not. If I don't have to be awake, I don't want to be awake.
Mhm.
it just
Yes,
helps keep
I'm
me
there.
disciplined. You're with me. So,
Ah,
but after 3 o'clock, essentially,
We're done.
it's all about just family and
wow.
sometimes just us. And so there's been moments where we both sat down and we're like, wow,
And
it's
I don't think you're
been
aware,
an
like back
hour or
home,
two.
like how much time, like
Mhm.
it's like you know it, but you don't know it. Like I remember being
Mm,
like, oh, the hustle culture
Yeah.
grind, like people need to slow down. Everyone's working too much. We work too hard in America. Like it's like I knew it,
mhm,
but I didn't really know it because it's like I
mhm,
separated myself from that. And now that I'm here, I'm like, yeah, I did. I work too much.
Yeah.
I looked at other people and
mm,
said they barely spend time with their kids because they work until 5. But I was always working too. Like I worked so much
mm,
and I didn't realize how much more free time I have now because he's right. Like at 2:30, we're done. We're done at 2:30. I'm walking through my classroom door. I get home at 3 o'clock. I don't have to fight through Atlanta traffic for an hour and a half or drive my kids from one part of the city to the next part of the city to all these
mhm,
activities. Like everything is here essentially located. And then I have the time. I don't, my mind is free. It's clear. So
mhm,
just being able to be a mom, a wife, a woman, like free, like I don't think we could have this. And just the resources we have here, having a nanny and a maid. And I don't, when I go home, it's not like, now I have to clean loads for 5 people or cook a meal
mhm,
for 5 people, or we have to clean. Like we can just go home and enjoy each other.
Yeah.
mm, mm, mm. That is amazing. And were y'all both educators in the US as well?
Yeah, we were both educators.
Yes. Hmm. So.
Uh-huh. Yes. I feel
Totally
y'all are
different. Like
speaking to my
even
spirit.
teaching,
Yes.
like I think I have PTSD from teaching. I think I didn't even know.
Yes,
Like,
I believe you.
like I was
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
so stressed out. Like the amount of work and the culture of the schools, or
Mhm.
like those parents, like just so much stress. I just remember talking to myself in the morning, like it's gonna be okay. Today's gonna be a good day. Like prepping myself. Where none of that happened to me.
No,
I love it.
to build on that, another
Mhm.
cool thing I've noticed here in Honduras with the school we're at is as soon as there were events for our kids,
Mhm.
without question, the principals, vice principals were like, "Oh yeah, you need to go there. We'll make sure you have someone to watch your class."
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
Full support. Or even at those same venues, you have various teachers, even sometimes teachers' assistants, because they have kids here. They'll
Mhm.
take time out and they're at those events, and it's completely celebrated and accepted. And that was a huge eye
Wow.
opener for us. Like, whoa, this is okay. I don't have to take a
Wow.
personal day
Yeah, it's
or
like shamed upon, I think, in the States. Like it doesn't even
big
matter
time.
what sector you live in. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's always asking for time off for her family. Like it's a shame. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And so in the States, I think combined, we've been in just about every sector in the US teaching realm in terms of teaching at a public school, a private school, a charter school. Um, so this is definitely one of the first schools and atmosphere that has this type of culture. So it's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing, but we're still like, wow, this is amazing. In the
That
holiday,
is amazing.
I mean, I'm not so much like that. I'm going to speak for myself. I assumed it would be like this.
Oh, okay.
I was like, as someone back home, I would tell him all the time, like, it's so much better in other countries. So for him, in a state of shock, for me, it's like, finally, we've arrived.
Yeah.
And I think it's because coming from two different backgrounds, like, you know, I guess we're both Black, but I always say he's like a different type because he's Trinidadian and like it's a completely different culture. Like, the only thing we have the same is our skin color. And so for me, I think he grew up more like, ooh, go to the States. You know, that's the goal, is to get to the US or to America. Like, it's just, there's nothing that we're the best in everything. Why would you want to go somewhere different? And so for me, saying like, you know, it's better over here. It's like, why do you think it's better? Like, there's this mentality or a lie that we believe that the States is the best in everything. And it's not. I think we're the best and thinking we're the best. And that's about it.
Yes, absolutely. And y'all are totally speaking to my spirit when I say for real, because I'm an educator and so is my husband. And so he just left his role as an educator last year, and the pandemic really was what made that happen. So he was a teacher, but he also was an athletic director. And so once the pandemic happened, there were no more athletics.
Yeah.
But I remember having a conversation with him like a week before to be like, you know, you're spending all these time with these other children and you have children over here. So I'm not really mad if you decide not to go back next year. But it's like that mental load, you know, like you leave work, but you know, okay, let me grade these papers. This one isn't eating. This one's not doing well. This one's not paying attention. How am I going to help?
You have an emotional attachment to the kids because they're not robots.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. So I love to hear all that. So can you tell us where in Honduras you are, and if you work at like a local school or an international school, what's the type of school you're at?
So we're currently in San Pedro Sula, which it has such a bad
reputation.
Yes, the worst reputation ever. I think when I went on YouTube looking up like, oh, San Pedro Sula, it was like a million videos of the same guy saying it's the murder capital of the world. It's so dangerous. You know, and it's not that. You know, St. Louis is more dangerous than San Pedro Sula. Wow. So we live there and we work at the international school in San Pedro Sula.
Okay, awesome. And so a lot of people, like the main question when they're considering moving abroad is, okay, how will I make money? What will I do? Can you tell us a little bit about how you two navigated this and going from like an educator in the US to becoming an educator abroad?
You want to?
You can, and I'll follow up.
Okay. So it goes back to like I knew I wanted to go abroad. I was trying to persuade my husband.
It worked.
And I was holding myself back because I was like, we have to wait till the kids are older. And that's probably the biggest thing I regret. Is I don't know why there was like a timeline of I had to wait till the kids were older because my 3-year-old's doing the best. He's picked up all Spanish. He didn't speak Spanish before we came here. He's just completely intertwined with the culture.
That's the 3-year-old.
So why I was like, we have to wait. That made no sense. So the pandemic happened. And so but right before then, we had joined a teacher recruitment agency, Search Associates, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and Amisa. I was working at the international school in Atlanta, and you know, it's a great school. Is it a true international school? I would say no, because everyone there is from Atlanta. Everyone's upper class Atlanta person. It's not really a mix of cultures. So we were there, and I was talking to my employees, my coworkers, and their experiences, because it wasn't their first international school. But the pandemic really had us wait, because when the pandemic happened, you know, why would we take our children abroad and we don't even know the certainty of life right now or the world anyway? So we were just waiting for it to like cool off. Once the pandemic settled down and, you know, COVID cases were lower, that's when we was like, okay, now we can do it. And we started interviewing, and we knew we wanted to be in Latin America because I speak Spanish, my oldest speaks Spanish, so many people in the States speak Spanish, and we wanted to be close enough to be able to fly to the States or for people to come visit us. Versus, you know, if we moved to Italy, we'd probably just be there and no one would come visit us because it's so far.
So
And your kids go to your same school too?
yes. So
Okay.
all 5 of us come here every Monday through Friday, and it's honestly
Wow.
wonderful. We weren't sure exactly how it would work.
Yeah, because those YouTube videos.
It'll be the first time working together.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Um,
We never worked at a school together.
right.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna like love one another or argue every
Now
On
that
the
can
way
go
to
either
work.
way. I can go either
Yeah.
way. So to each his own. That's all I gotta say on that. And it's definitely worked in our benefit. So coming from the States to here, academically, it's a bit of a challenge, and I'm still trying to figure out, me personally, I don't know about my wife, is it because of the pandemic? So we have friends and family in the States, and then we have our kids. And so academically, teaching wise, it just seems like, whoa, the grade that so I teach 3rd grade currently, and a lot of my students are on a 2nd, some even on a 1st grade level across the board. And so, yeah, I'm just thinking about that. And I think it was good to see how some of the students in the States are pretty much in the same boat.
And with the pandemic, just everyone being virtual for 2 years, like I think of, because my son was in kindergarten when the pandemic happened. And I'm like, I'm still seeing the ripple effects for those kids who were online for 2 years. And I really think it hit hard for English language learners. I really like that our school has a plan for that. I really like that in our school, like we're talking about how we all are at the same school. However, like our youngest kids are at the early learning center. So technically they're like across the street from the campus. We're here at the main campus because he's a 3rd grade teacher. I'm a 5th grade teacher. Our son's in 3rd grade. So it's like enough space, but we're all close and everyone's working together. I also think that here kids are treated like kids. I really feel like we're so data driven in the States and test score driven, and like that we forget that emotional and like whole well-being of the child. And I definitely see that as my son, like at our old school, he was one of very few Black kids in the whole school. And here, technically, my son is one of very few Black kids. You know, the kids are brown and they're also Honduran. But the way he's treated is completely different. The way he's treated is insane, because I tell Ian all the time, like, we're actually foreigners in this country. We are actually foreigners. We are not from here. But we are treated better and we are welcomed. And my son is a child and he's human. They don't like exaggerate his age or, exaggerate his behavior, versus in the country that really is our country. Like some people see us as foreigners in a place that we've been, my family's been for the past 100 years.
So to put it another way, we get to experience and see it celebrated is Black boy joy, where he just happy-go-lucky, full of energy, full of life. And it's celebrated. When we had our parent-teacher conference, the teacher was like, yeah, I don't have any behavior issues with Monty.
Which was a shock.
Which was a shock.
Right. He has not changed. He had a behavior 10 seconds.
Compared to the States where,
anything
it was a constant thing that came up with any
he's too loud. He doesn't sit. He's always fidgeting. He's this, he's that. My son is exactly the same here.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's grown as a child does. However, he's the same person, and that was an immediate. Like my poor wife was nervous because she was like, "I haven't heard anything about Monty. I'm waiting to hear something about."
Heard nothing.
And it was nothing. And then even up to the parent-teacher conference, it was like, "No, your son's doing the things age appropriate. Period." Wow. And so that's definitely been another joy that we've had since being out here.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Just feel like, wow, we made the right decision for our kids. That's just so powerful. Just even hearing y'all describe it, like my kid can be who they are naturally with no one trying to make them conform into this box. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So you talked a little bit about like your transition into the culture. Were there other things transitioning into Honduras culture that you had to adjust to?
It was
Well, I'll
harder for
go
him.
first.
It's harder for him.
For me, my Spanish is that of many who's taken Spanish in high school. So it's like, it's something you did, you checked it off, but you don't know the language. All you can say is hola. And even that, it's pronounced the wrong way. So I know the first week, for those of you who don't speak whatever language, whatever country you're going to, it's going to get real fast. It's just going to, I felt a huge amount of anxiety and questioning myself, like, did I make the right choice? And one of the burdens I've learned through my wife that I put on her was, because she's better at the language, that, you know, she's just going to lead the way with any and everything Spanish.
Yeah, and we stopped that.
And that wasn't.
I couldn't do it. Like, I speak Spanish, but I don't want to do everything. Right. Like, you talk to the water guy, you go to the grocery store, you talk to this person. Like, no, you got to try. Pretend like I'm dead. What would you do if I was not here? Pretend I did not exist.
We'll say invisible. There we go. Yes, I do not exist.
I'm not around. What do you do? I had to like kick him out the house and say, go figure it out. It's the only way you get better.
And she's right. And she's right. So I'm grateful to have listened to my wife, where she was just like, I'm going shopping today. And I didn't want to go shopping, fellas. I did not want to go shopping. Get shopping. Now I got to do it in another language.
You brought the wrong ketchup. In Spanish.
However, I think it goes without saying, part of the experience was learning to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So shopping is thing. I do play sports. I play basketball. So I was able to assimilate with some of the locals who, ironically enough, in Honduras, football or soccer is the predominant favorite sport. Then second to that is basketball. Yeah. So I played basketball with some locals, and the universe is just so amazing. Right time, right place, where, you know, people that we knew were instantly like, hey, do you play? Yes, I do.
Tall black guy. Do you play basketball?
And I didn't feel some type of way. They were correct. It was a correct stereotype. We bonded, and I had to learn quickly how to speak the language, because if not, one, just to be frank, I wouldn't be able to play. If I'm not using the little Spanish that I did know, they would what we call freeze out, where they're not giving me the ball, they're not trying to hear any of my American excuses. Learn our language, respect it. So I had to learn, sink or swim.
That is really, really a great point you make, because I felt a lot of that. Like, my husband and I, we lived in Germany, and we are not military, so we lived in real Germany, taxes in German, all the things. And I remember having a conversation with him, like, I am not your translator. Okay. We got to get this together. Or then he'd be like, what'd they say? And I'm like, I don't really know. I'm pretending. I don't know what they said. So I'm like, dang, now you just put me on the spot, because I don't know.
No idea what they're saying. I'm just sitting there going, sí, claro. I don't know what they're saying.
Exactly. I'm like, now I'm just like, I don't know. I don't actually know what they're saying.
Right.
That is such a good point. Are there any regrets that y'all have? Any things that you wish you would have done differently?
I have only one regret, which was I wish we would have gone sooner. That was like the top number one regret. It's like, I don't know why I kept thinking there was a timeline. I had to wait. You know, we came probably here in the worst time. Like, honestly waiting, we were like, oh, we're gonna wait, we gotta pay down bills, we gotta blah blah blah. We came here with more kids, more bills, more student loan debt, no money. And so people will say, like, oh, you have to move, you know. We read those articles where it's like, I quit my job making $1.5 million a year and retired in Turkey. Well, yeah, you can do that if you're working and making six figures. Like, we were regular teachers. Like, a teacher in Georgia doesn't make a lot of money. And when we were in Indiana, because that's when we had been working originally, we spent the first 3 years of our daughter's life in Indiana. I think we made like $30,000 a year a piece in Indiana. So we weren't making any money. We were living in Indiana, Like it's not like the starlight of the States. And now we're here. I'm just like, if we would have came here, we could have paid off student loan debt quicker. We wouldn't have accumulated so much debt. Our kids would speak the language. I wish we would have came here sooner. And I also wish we would have I think we got so excited during the interview process, like, oh, these people are offering us jobs. I thought it was gonna be harder. I don't know why. We got so many job offers from different countries, and I wish I would have done due diligence, because there's some things I'm like, man, I think our family would have liked this place better
for these reasons.
But I always do that. The grass is always greener on every side.
Which is normal, and I think fair. And
but yeah, I wish I would have gone sooner. So taking the jump sooner, probably.
I think my biggest regret, probably my only regret, is the things that we brought that we thought were important that cost a whole lot of money. That's me putting it delicately.
Oh my God. We bought so much
that we could have just sold, given to a friend.
We could have saved money by just giving it away, because of the weight.
So much.
Yes.
You realize once you move abroad,
we don't need
the very few things, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the very few things that you actually want now that you live abroad, it's a very small list. And even now, I'm like, I think I have too much stuff. I want to.
We brought the stupidest stuff and more.
Don't do it. Don't do this. Check it twice. Do I really want this?
You don't need whatever is on that list. The only thing you need is clothes. Don't bring anything, especially if there's a family of 5. You're feeling like 5 like us. Just bring clothes.
Well, it depends on your kid's age. You may want to bring some of their closest toys, just with familiarity. Outside of that, though, what have I not used in the last 30 days? You're probably not going to use it.
You're not.
Probably not going to use it. Yeah.
Yep. I never have ever heard anybody say, I wish I would have brought more. Never. No one has ever said that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yay. Well, we have about 7 minutes left. Any last nuggets that you'd like to share with people who are listening about taking the plunge? What recommendations or advice you could give?
Take the plunge. Know where you go can be wrong. Because I always tell people, you're not a tree. You're not going to grow roots. You can go back to the life that you live right now. If you go to Portugal and you hate every single moment, you can go back to the exact life, especially if you're in a job like teaching or nursing. Like there's a teacher shortage everywhere. There's a nursing shortage everywhere. Like you can get a job in 2 seconds. So just go, just take the plunge. If you don't like it, you just move back, go back into your regular life, or go somewhere completely different. Like just do it. And the other thing is, don't listen to anyone except the people who actually live there, because Honduras especially, I would say 99.9% of the people who I spoke with who said that, you're going to Honduras, sent me a million stories of people getting kidnapped or any bad thing you could think of, and told me how dangerous it was. And I'm like, where we live is better than Atlanta. Where we live is better than where we were living in Atlanta. Where we were living
our experience. That's it. Just
technically we were in East Point when we left, but where we were living in East Point is a lot worse than where we are now.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna go to these countries. Usually you're not, and say, where is the worst neighborhood I can find in all Honduras? And that's where I live. Unless you're like going to a gang member's house, asking for drugs, and sleeping with his girlfriend, don't put yourself in dumb situations. Because the lifestyle we live here is amazing. It's amazing. We could never live like this in Atlanta. Never.
Yes.
I think my love hit it on the head. We just speak to people who've experienced what you and your family have experienced, who actually experienced what we're experiencing. And one thing that I feel was the tipping point for our decision, because we were looking at Honduras, we liked the package they offered, and we started looking at videos. She won't admit it, but my love was sweating like, oh man.
I wasn't doing it.
It looks like it might be a little dangerous out there. I don't know.
There was this guy on YouTube who was like walking through the deadly streets of San Pedro Sula. But then I clicked
Yeah.
his YouTube, and
And that
every
was all
single
his
video was that.
videos.
I was like, does this guy just walk around and
Right.
find places? Like, I was like, this guy walking through Ukraine right now,
He was doing
walking
this.
through a war in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Like, is that all you do? Like, you just go to places? Like, that's all his videos were. So I was just like, he's just not credible anymore.
However, we were able to, not just with Honduras, but other countries that we were interested in.
Yeah.
We got to speak to other expats from other countries, primarily from the States.
So important.
I wanted to
Who
speak to Black
shared-
people.
And we spoke, yes, we made sure to speak to Black people about, which
Mhm.
is important.
Very, very.
Whatever your
Mhm.
ethnicity is, just looking at, do
Experience.
they have pockets of safe spaces for you to be able to talk, to
Yeah.
be able to just be
Mhm.
yourself, let your hair down.
Yeah, some
So-
people will say Korea is amazing. I don't personally think Korea is amazing, but some people might say, yeah, I want to live in Korea and raise my kids there. But for what we wanted, that would have not been a good place for us. So you
Mhm.
have to like really look at, like you said, like, are these some places that I can feel safe, that I can feel okay,
Yes.
that my kids will be able to make friends, like all those things. And I think Honduras has all those things. I'm always telling people to move to Honduras
I agree.
all the time. So, you know,
Love.
and we also have our YouTube channel that we just started solely
Yay,
for
please share.
Yeah, we'll share. It's
Mhm.
youtube.com/@MyNervesOnTheMove. And my nerves are last name.
Yeah.
And we have two goals. One, to try to get people of color, encourage them to move abroad, to go abroad, to live abroad, not just visit Jamaica. Like go live abroad.
Once again, no offense, Jamaica.
Yeah,
We're
no
just
offense,
trying to
Jamaica.
broaden
You
the
should visit Jamaica. I'm saying just don't not visit Jamaica. And also to like change the narrative of what people think of Honduras.
Yeah.
Because there's some really beautiful places that are here. There's some really safe spaces that are here. You know, we've walked in Honduras day, night, alone with kids. We went to concerts. We've been to malls. We've been to upper class neighborhoods, lower class neighborhoods. Like, so we really want to change what people think about the country that we live in, that we love. We love it here.
Trying to share this knowledge. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I love all of that. Thank you both so much. It was so great talking to you. And just hearing about your journey to your life in Honduras. I love that. Just so, and as an educator, like as educators, what that transition was like. So that's really great. So if any of you are interested in moving abroad and need some help taking the leap, I am here to support you on your personal journey. Head to my website at www.yourbestlifeabroad.com for information on how to get started. Thanks again for joining us today. And there is no time like the present to live your best life abroad. Thanks.